Welcome to the Newcomers Podcast, people, where I explore what it means to be an immigrant with immigrants like myself. Today, I'm talking with Kristina McPherson. I hope I got that name right. She's Jamaican, moved here when she was about 2021. And she runs a really interesting immigrant show called As Told by Canadian Immigrant. You should check that out. But I think you'll love this story, honestly. But what I loved about this, I don't even love is the right word, but it's something I mentioned on the interview. Sindhu Madhavan on her show said something that it's more than a piece of paper. For the first 2+ years of Kristina's life in Canada, she lived out of a suitcase. Like she lived because she was like, I don't know if I'm going to be here. I could be sent home, and so she lived out of a suitcase. That is the immigrant journey. I mean, it's not the same for everybody, but that is the immigrant journey. The uncertainty, the hope, the dreams, but let's get to it. Before we hit record, we were talking about what you're doing right now, and you kind of talked a bit about stuff like, or rather, the statement I just couldn't. I feel like once you said it, I almost got so fixated on it that I didn't hear the things you said after it a bit. Was when you talked about I'm just trying to do this because I wish someone had told. These are things I wish I had known when I moved. When you track your journey, and so let's track that journey. Like let's retrack that journey. Basically, so. First, when did you move to Canada? Like, let's even start from there. Like, when?
I came to Canada in 2014. The very beginning, that year, Canada had an ice storm, and I came the week after the ice storm.
Wait. Let's pause. Like, hold on.
I'm from Jamaica.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said let's pause. Like, just hold on. Wait. You came 1 week after the ice storm. How many times did you fall down? Just curious. Like,
I've never fallen. Knock on wood. I've never.
Oh yeah,
fallen.
I like that. You better do that so you don't fall next winter. But wait, but like a week after an ice storm.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, having never experienced snow in my whole life, and I never got, because of how things played out for me. I mean, we can probably rewind to that part there. I got my visa, boarded the plane, and attended school all within the same 24 hours, right? So when I get here, I land, I don't remember what time it is, but I get to my aunt's house at 3 a.m. and I have to wake up at 6 to take the bus, a 2-hour bus ride to college. So I didn't have time to like marinate in the fact that outside is cold or snow and all. It's just like, I'm here and I just have to show up. No preparation, no marination, no looking through the window for a couple days before I go outside. None of that. I'm here and I have to start.
Wait. So, wait. So, like, let me just maybe ask the question this way. When you get to class, did you understand anything you were taught that day?
I don't remember. I think that day, honestly, was because... All right, so I'll rewind a little bit. My first visa was rejected. Okay. When I reapplied, there was only enough processing time to get to school. There was no processing time to like get to Canada and then marinate for a week and then go to school. And then when the Christmas had passed, because this would have been the end of the year 2013. It was Christmas and New Year's, so that's go slow time. And I still don't have my visa yet. So now the school is gonna start on Monday, and if you don't get to school by Friday, you have to defer to the following school year. And I wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to defer. It was like, this is happening and this must happen. And so New Year's came and I'm like, all right, no, the week after New Year's, these people need to give me my visa. I gotta go, right? And I'm looking at tickets. Ticket prices are $500 one way, right? US, right? From Jamaica, I know that probably for you guys, that's not a lot of money because you guys probably paying like thousands of dollars. But in 2013 from Jamaica, a $500 ticket is a lot of money one way, right? Because right now I can fly return for $600, right?
It's Jamaica is not that far from Canada, right?
No, it's a 4-hour flight.
Oh,
it's a 4-hour flight, right?
Okay.
So $500 one-way ticket is a lot of money. So now tickets were going up, and also planes were filling up. So like every time I looked, a flight that was available was no longer available. So on faith, I just decided that, you know what, I'm just gonna book my plane ticket. I don't have my passport, I don't have my visa. I'm just gonna book my plane ticket for a Tuesday. And on Monday, I am going to go and camp out in the visa application center, silently protest, asking for my passport. And I did that. I booked my ticket. It was a Tuesday. The ticket was for Tuesday at 8 p.m. And on Monday, I drove to Montego Bay. And I went to the visa application center and I was like, hey, school starts today. I have a plane to catch tomorrow. I would really like this passport thing, And they're like, well, it's not at the visa application center. My passport, it's at the consulate. The VAC is just the intermediary. So then I stay there, and he's like, okay, well, we'll contact the consulate, and their contact the consulate is send an email, So not like get on the phone and say, hey. So I'm there all day, literally, and I break for lunch. I go for lunch. I had some crepes. I remember the day. I remember it and then I come back, and the office was getting full. So now I camp out in the parking lot instead. And now 4:00 comes, I do my last check-in. Anything? They're like, no, we haven't heard anything. I know the office must close. So then the officer said to me, if we hear anything, I'll personally call you and let you know. I'm like, all right, fine. And I'm driving home, and 30 minutes into my drive, I get a call from the visa application center officer. And he said, we heard from the consulate, you can come and get your passport and your visa tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And Jamaica, this is the island of Jamaica, right? Kingston is down here. That's where the consulate is. Montego Bay is up here, where the plane is leaving tomorrow. Right? So, and I live in the middle, right? So I had to in the morning, bright and early, get to here, show up, figure out hey, passport, can I get it? Thank you. Get it, drive, pick up my suitcase because I had packed my bag. I was ambitious, very ambitious. My bags were packed. Said bye to my grandpa, drive to Montego Bay. And everything was just happened there was no lingering. It was just go here, get it. Go here, pick up the bag. Go here. I have to go through security, and I'm gone. I sat in the plane, and I don't even remember if I was I was probably just numb, dissociated.
Yeah.
Okay, is this happening? This is happening. This is happening. Oh my gosh. And I show up, and then I have to sleep, go to school. And you'd think that, you'd be able to get some satisfaction okay, I'm on the plane, I'm going to Canada. No, because that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
And you get to school, hit the ground running. My cousin, thank God. So thankfully, I'm coming to family, right? Yeah. So my aunt and my cousin lived here, pick me up. They have winter gear for me, all of that stuff. And the first day of school, my cousin comes with me and takes the bus with me because I live 2 hours away from school by bus. One way.
Kristina.
Crazy. Yup.
What?
Yeah. Yep. And that was my welcome to Canada, Kristina. 1 week after the ice storm. I never see snow in all my life. Never. And I'm here, and I have to do it. Gotta show up. Gotta take this 2-hour bus. My last class ended at 9 p.m. So, of course, I'm getting home at 11:30 in the night.
Your first day in Canada. That's it feels like you are in some, if when you say to me that you don't remember that day exactly what you learned in class, that's understandable, because I suspect that you are probably disassociating for 3, 4, 5 days. Because literally, What you just told me is that between Monday and Wednesday, Thursday, you were just in fight or flight mode. I need to get my passport. I have a ticket. I need to get, you're just doing that back foot, land in Canada, sleep a bit, get up, head to school, start trying to understand what the hell am I doing here? Do I really want to be here? Why is this so stressful? Oh, it's cold. I need to be careful. What's going on?
Yep. Yep. And I guess the fight or flight mode was helpful in the snow didn't bother me. Now, I don't have much capacity for the snow. But then I didn't care, right? I was on a mission, and it's cold, and soon it will be done. My grandfather, I don't remember why he said this, but he said it may be long, but it won't be forever. So, it's going to be cold right now, Kristina, and I'll just use the time on the bus to do my homework. So when I get home, I don't have any homework.
Yeah. What your granddad says reminds me of something I tell friends, and I tell myself whenever I'm going through something that is stressful. I say that it's the moment, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's just a moment. That doesn't mean it's not who I am. It's a moment. I'm in a moment, and It's going to pass at some point.
Exactly.
If it doesn't pass, then I'm dead and I'm not around here anymore and I'm not worried about it. You get what I mean? Like, but it's going to pass at some point. And when it goes past, then life goes on. Like, another moment comes and maybe I enjoy that, maybe I don't. But the point is that they're just all moments.
Exactly.
That
so I had to look forward to the 8 months. It's just going to be 8 months. I just got to do this for 8 months. Then it's going to be done. Then it's in the next fight. It didn't stop.
Yeah. I was about to go there.
Yeah.
Because then when you say it didn't stop, like that statement is laced with a lot of things.
No, because so that year, 2014, there is no express entry. Express entry opens in 2015. Right? And it's a unicorn. Like, what is this thing? Like, of course they had a point-based system before then, but they didn't have one like this. And it was when I was in school, I was like, what's next again? I felt like once I got to school, I had more questions than answers as to how was it supposed to play out again? Because I know that this person told me that I need to go to school. And that's my best route at that point, based on my profile. I had just finished university. So he's like, well, based on, if you go to school, then it's a pathway. And I feel like when I left, I felt confident. And then I get here and I'm like, wait, what's next? And then the program is accelerated, right? So even though it's one school year, there's no summer break or nothing. So it's just January to August, which is 8 months. So then we're like in school, we're thinking about the work permit and all that stuff. We're like, wait a second, is this an 8 month or is this 1 year? Are we going to get an 8 month work permit or a 1 year work permit? All kinds of questions. Then there's no express entry. So they're like, well, what was supposed to be next? So then I come out of school and thankfully, thank God. So networking, I tell you, it's magic. It's magic. One day I will have the title of master networker. I will. Just through, somebody I knew worked at an engineering firm. My background is in architecture and I just finished a project management program and he was a drafter. I can do that, right? Based on my architectural degree, I can do that. So he handed in my resume for me. I got called for an interview, so I got hired straight out of school. Thank God. So that thank God, thankfully. I mean, before that, though, I still was looking. I almost moved to BC because I did have an interview lined up for an interior design position. But my family was like, you don't know anybody out there? I'm like, I have family in Nevada. They're just down the street, Just so, but I was looking. My friend had a place that had needed skills that I had. He had it in my resume. I got a job. Move out, and now I'm living on my own. I'm not living with my aunt anymore because I'm now 3 hours away the city. So now I move out. I have to take the bus. I have to pay rent. I have to adult, all these things. Because I'm young, right? I was like 21.
Yeah. Like, because it's just like, what?
Yep. And I'm in a new city, but I'm very, I guess I kind of work well under pressure. And
you have to immigrants.
Yeah, right. And I do well with maps. So you just give me a map, I can find my way around. You give me the bus schedule, I give me the map, I can find my way around. So I did that. And now I'm in this company that like me. I get promoted within like 2 months. And now I'm like, all right, now I have to have the immigration conversation because I don't know how I'm going to stay here. Will they do an LMIA? So we start that. But LMIA is very intimate. It's like up under your skirt intimate. We try that. We get to our roadblock. I know it's not going to work. I try Provincial nominee program based on the time that I have. I'm not going to have enough time. So that don't work. Then this unicorn comes. It's 2015. And points started in the 800s. Like people are stressing out about 500 right now, which I know is high. But the first 4 months of express entry, 800s, those points. Can you imagine that? And it just never stops. It's just like throw. Problems. I tried to enter the express entry pool. Ineligible. I get that twice. I wait. I finally get in. And on Wednesday and on Friday, I get invitation to apply for permanent residency. Right? So after all of the hits that I get by immigration, I did have some favor.
How did you feel that day?
It was a relief, but it also wasn't the end because now I have to get my PR application in. Thank God I had just gone to Jamaica, so I got my police record. So it's one thing. It's a good thing, guys. If you're trying to have this level of success, that is PR or whatever it is, be prepared for when it shows up, right? So I had my police record. I had everything that I could have had at the time. I had it. I only needed the medical, which is what you do after you get the invitation.
Yeah.
So it felt good, but it didn't feel like the end. It just felt like a step closer, because now I need to get this application in, because now I'm 2 months before my work permit was going to expire, right? So now I need to get this application in and extend my work permit. And at the time, to extend your work permit, they needed this thing called an approval in principle, which is something that you're supposed to get. So it's not just, hey, you submitted your application, but they've looked through it and they feel like it's complete enough to progress. Right. So they said that you can't extend your work permit without that. So I'm like, how long does it take to get that? I only have like 1 month left now. So I submit my application. I get it looked over by a second pair of eyes. And now I need to extend my work permit. I'm not getting this approval of record. So what I did now, this is 6 days before my work permit was going to expire. 6 days. I submit a paper application to extend my work permit. The paper applications back, in the olden days before COVID, you could do that, paper applications. And paper applications, it takes longer to get to it. So by the time they would open my work permit extension paper application, in a perfect world, they would see in the system that I have approval in principle. That was the theory. And so I did that. I know I'm on implied status. It expires. I have an application in, and I have an application to extend. And I'm on implied status. I cannot leave the country, and I just have to work. And I don't hear from them until like the following February with the work permit. And then March, April, I get my confirmation of permanent residency. And I'm a permanent resident. Woohoo! What year was that? 2016. 2016, 2 years. Within 2.5 years, I get my PR. And then I can breathe a little. So I breathe a little. I got a car. Because before that, I lived very, very frugal. I only had enough things that could fit in a suitcase. If I had to leave, it wasn't going to be a problem to leave. I could leave tomorrow. I don't want to have to worry about furniture or a car or none of that. I had 2 pots, 2 plates, 2 glasses. Still have those same 2 glasses. Bare minimum for those 2.5 years. And then once I got PR, I was like, all right, now I'm settled. I can live a little. Now I can stop taking the bus. And I got a car. That's the immigrant life. Scarcity. Yeah.
Damn. I think it was Sindhu Mahadevan. Sindhu, apologies if I didn't pronounce your name properly, who said something. And I think about that a lot, which is that to some people, it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's not a piece of paper.
It's not.
I mean, just what you're saying now, like you live the life, like you like, so people talk about minimalist lives. Like, so you are living a minimalist life, not because you want to be a minimalist, but because you're like I don't know how long I have here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long I have here. And what I don't want to feel like is like I'm struggling to leave if it happens that I have to go.
Exactly.
And I'm calling this out because someone might listen to this and just think and get caught up with how easy you say it.
I know. But when I was in it though.
Yeah, it's not. I just can't even begin to imagine all the things that keep going through your head every single day. Like you know how you almost feel like your brain is running on 2 parallel tracks, trying to get through the day, and then the track of anxiety and worry and hope. Because they say hope dies last. And so hope keeps you going. But like I feel like the anxiety and worry and frustration are like hammers. Keep hitting you every single day like a drum.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I remember it was like early in the year, so March, February, and my godbrother asked me if I'm coming home for Christmas. I'm like, buddy, don't ask me about the future. I cannot see the future. All I can see is now and tomorrow. Ask me about tomorrow. Don't ask me about the future. Christmas, I don't know. I might have to be kicked out. This application doesn't go through. I might have to be there in July. I coined this term, post-immigration stress disorder. To put a term to that experience. And nobody prepares you for it.
Yeah. No one does.
And it's
No one does.
immigration is more
And
than
I
just
think the
paperwork.
saddest part of it for me is that even if you listen to all the stories, it still doesn't fully prepare you for how it's going to hit you, because I think everybody takes it differently.
Differently.
Maybe you listen to the stories and I think you kind of know what is coming to some extent, but because the perspectives are so different, and you can't listen to all the stories because every story is different. Because
Yeah.
I always say to people that the immigrant isn't a monolith, both from a cultural point of view and from an experience point of view.
Exactly.
You get, like, so my experience will be very different because of various factors. A ton of factors. Met someone that liked me, didn't meet someone that liked me. I was probably dealing with stress at that point in time, so I handled it different. There's just a ton of things that are happening that means that every single immigrant is just like a different individual at each point in time, just wading through the muck of
Yep.
paperwork and anxiety and stress. And
There's no identical story or experience. And as immigration changes, the experiences
it
changes.
just changes. Yeah, it changes.
Yep.
What the what?
Yeah. And you'd never know, right?
Yeah.
So when I spoke to Kelly's one was like, stroll in the park. I came to school, I went to the express entry, I got through, and now I'm a permanent resident. I'm like, yeah, well, Kelly, I'm glad to hear a happy story. I'm happy. Yeah. Crazy.
Just so building on that. When did this place start to feel like home to you? Or has it even ever felt like home still?
Exactly though, because and like you said, the immigrant experience continues after, because now here I am, I'm permanent. The following year I get married. The following year is a year away from COVID. I have a baby during COVID. I have no immediate family here, and so there's nobody that's people will take a risk for you or go out on a ledge for you if they're your family. They're not worried about getting COVID and all of that stuff, right? But when you talk about, like, yes, you have good friends and stuff, but they have to look out for their family and themselves. So here is it that I have a baby in May of 2020, and my mom is here. First of all, my mom gets denied entry because she lands on the day that the border, Justin Trudeau announces that the border is closed. Thankfully, they sent her home, and like I said, I do well under pressure. As long as they don't keep her in the airport, once they release her and tell her she has to leave the next day, I'm going to put together something to figure out how to stay. Got her to stay, but she can only stay for 6 months. So then I do COVID in Jamaica at that point. So there was no, up to, it's only now, honestly, in the last year or 2 years that I feel at home, because throughout all of that, through COVID, whatever, you get uprooted, you leave, you come back, you live here, and then you move from there and then you live here. And this is probably the longest I've ever lived somewhere in Canada, where I live right now. And now it kind of feels homey. It kind of feels like I have a community. I mean, I've had a community, but my church community is very close to me, near and dear to me, helps me with the parenting and the pickup sometimes, and babysitting. So it took, and I think statistically they say that it takes about 7 to 10 years to feel grounded or rooted, and I'm at year 11, so it kind of lines up. But it's not like you said, there's no identical story. I've had a lot of things that kind of changed how I felt about being in Canada. I've had life problems or experiences that contributed to me leaving, coming back. I didn't leave for leaving's sake, but I left without any, because it's COVID. You don't know if this is what the world is going to be forever. So now I feel a little bit more grounded and stuff, but still not super permanent. And I don't know that I came here for permanency forever. I came here, I think, especially with the pursuit of being a citizen, is more options, And that's how I always kind of explain it, is like right now, if I want to uproot and just go back to Jamaica for a while, I can. and I can come back when I feel like, So I don't necessarily feel as permanent as maybe a Canadian. Like I don't own a home, and that is intentional. But it feels a lot more like home. Like when I visit Jamaica, I'm ready to come back. I'm ready to come back. So it feels a lot more like home in the last 2-3 years. The plot thickens.
Yeah.
Right? So many crazy.
When you go to Jamaica, what do you miss about Canada, though?
So, like I said, the last 11 years of my life has been spent in Canada. So most of my adult life has been in Canada.
Yeah.
And so just everyday services, customer service, the ease at which you can get things, and it's not at times spoiled, rotten necessarily, but there's certain, like when I visited Jamaica one at a time, my mom's car window, she usually uses her AC, so she doesn't wind her window down. My dad was driving her car, and he wound the window down, and when he went down, it got stuck. Right? It was just so random, but it got stuck, and then you can't park a car with a window down, right? So you can't go anywhere. Right? You can't, it's unlike, you could probably get away with it here. It depends on where you are. You can't do that. And then just the idea that in order to get that dealt with, we have to go to Kingston. We don't live in Kingston, right? So we have to take like an hour and a half drive to Kingston. And they say there's one left, one motor, right? And we have to drop the car off in the morning, spend all day. And then when I thought about that, I'm like, my nearest dealership is like 15 minutes down the street from where I live. And even if it's not that one, there's one more, another like 20 minutes, and it's easy peasy. And then just, and that's something that could ruin your whole week, if you have to work or whatever. And it did, actually. We were stationary for several days trying to figure out how to get it fixed. And just dealing with like the bank services, like there's just certain levels of service experiences that I really wish people wouldn't just settle for. This is how it's been, so this is how it should be. That they just want to treat people better in the service industry, deal with people better. So sometimes I just get really frustrated at how just they don't care that I'm in their business and I'm a customer. Like I'm just a pawn, a chess piece. So sometimes I miss just how frustrating it can be to deal with like the banks or KFC or just everyday services can feel very frustrating. But other than that, I love the weather there, obviously, right? I love the beach. I love that. So there's pros and there's cons everywhere, right? Because not everybody in Canada is nice. But generally, it's that kind of stuff that make me be like, oh. But also like routine, right? I'm out of my routine when I'm there. And here I have my car. I don't have to deal with a lot of traffic where I live. So it's a mixture of things. I'm trying not to sound spoiled because it's if you've never experienced both, it's hard for somebody else to understand, right? Yeah. A Jamaican wouldn't necessarily understand. My sister is like, Kristina, that's what it is. Like, just get used to it. That's how my sister responded when I'm just like, why must it be okay that if I call and ask you for an appointment, you tell me, no, you can't get an appointment. You just have to wait. What? Anyways, yeah. So to try not to sound spoiled, it's something that you have to experience to really get it. But most people that are Jamaicans that I know who have lived both there and here, they get it.
And just knowing that, I mean, I know you talk about the stuff. Because you know how that thing they say, as immigrants, I call us in-betweeners. We are usually in between cultures. So you're never fully Canadian to some extent. Maybe at some point, maybe if we talk to someone who's been here for like 60 years, they'll probably say to us that they're now fully Canadian. But I feel like you're in the first maybe 20, 30 years of your immigrant journey, you're never fully Canadian. But also the sad part for me is that you now are never fully Jamaican again, because just like what you're saying, you kind of, you have a vision of it feels like the country is stopped at some point for you and you move on from it. Anytime you go back there, you find out you're very different. But then you have a kid, you have a 5-year-old girl. And so how are you, like, what are you passing on to her from your Jamaican heritage? Like, what are you passing on?
Well, thankfully, because of COVID, she got to experience being in Jamaica for a little while. being around her grandparents. My parents, and on my side and on her dad's side, are very involved in her life.
Oh,
They come
nice.
for Canada doesn't know, but Canada, so my child's birthday is a tourist attraction. So people fly here for her birthday and they're here. Of course, the language, patois. So every now and then, and she's really good at language. So when she hears it, she'll say it exactly like how she heard it, right? So she can say a couple of Jamaican words. She knows what the weather and the climate is like. One thing that, she's 5 now, but she's really, really intelligent. So I'm trying to help her to understand, because there's certain things she takes for granted, She's, oh, mommy, my toys are too old, whatever, right? Just, I want her to be able to understand that, what you have here isn't necessarily what I grew up with, for example. And it's not that I grew up quite okay or quite comfortably, but just these 2-day shipping things that you take for granted here. So I'm trying to help her to just understand that, like, she doesn't live in a bubble that's here, but she's definitely gone there. She knows, she's seen it, so she sees that it's different. She doesn't want to be here in the winter. She wants to be in Jamaica in the winter. She said that herself. She said, it's too cold for too long, mommy. I'm gonna go to Jamaica and then I'll come back with Papa when he comes back in the summertime. So, but I think it's gonna be a lot through visiting there and letting her kind of just pick it up and know. But she knows that she's Jamaican and Canadian, just through share going there and being amongst our family there. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and it's not far. Like, I didn't know it was that close, honestly, because like
Super
my country,
close.
I have to fly for 24 hours technically.
I know. This is why I said, like, okay, $500 ticket, don't sound
Like, I'm just
like
like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, that is dirt cheap. If Nigeria was that close, I'll be visiting every, like 3 or 4 times a year.
I know.
Let's skedaddle over to what you're doing right now, because
Yes.
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What part of all this journey led to As Told by Canadian Immigrants? Like, how did you get there? What's your why? Like how did you get there? How did you say, oh, you know what? What was the point where you're like, I have to find a way to tell people or help people not go through what I went through? Like, how did we get there?
Mm-hmm. So this would have been the year I started the channel in 2019. I made my first video like the summer before, but I never posted it. It's just on my phone somewhere, right? Me just talking, because having gone through this, right? There's people on Facebook or whatever who know that I'm in Canada.
Yeah.
And they will ask me questions and such. And they would just have the wildest ideas about what's possible, what's not possible. Just wild. Also, I felt a little bit sour. I don't know what the word is, but I felt like the consultant that I worked with could have prepared me a little bit more. And so especially when I got through express entry and all that stuff, and it was because I did a lot of research, right? And I had to be in it to do the research. I had to learn along the way. And so at this time now, I was like, you know what? I feel like people just need to know like what it's like. I want to just share, like, my visa got rejected because I didn't have the police record, because on the list it said optional. I'm not doing it if it's optional, but maybe you should do it, So I wanted to just be able to say, don't do that, like, you can avoid spending extra money, avoid the stress that I had to go through, because it was just such a pivotal thing in my life that I didn't even expect. Because I came here, I tell you, my background is in architecture. I come and study project management. I belong in the built environment, so to speak. And I go through this immigrant experience, which was like a curveball, because I'm like, no, I'm just supposed to go there, work, supposed to be a big shot in the construction world, And like, it's like not even that. So, and then just through that, I start my channel. Especially since I have such a crazy story, right? I book a ticket before I gotta go. I had a silent protest. And you know what? When I showed up at the consulate, they told me the consulate is closed. It doesn't open till 1 o'clock. And I'm like, no. Somebody told me to be here and I'm here. Can you please go inside and find out who that somebody is? Thank you.
Wait, hold on. That's the day you came to pick up your passport?
Yeah. The same morning, right? The security guy says that the consulate is closed to the public until 1 p.m. Right. And by that time, if I get it at 1,
yeah, you can't make your flight. Yeah,
I can't make my flight. So I said, sir, and he told me to go to the visa application center in that town. So I go there and they said they don't have my passport, so I had to consulate. So I come back and I was like, listen, sir, I understand you're doing your job. Somebody told me to be here and I'm here. So if you could just go inside and find out who that is, I would be grateful. So he goes inside and then he comes back out to get me and chariots me in. And I'm the only person in the consulate. There's nobody there. It's a consulate or high commission, whichever one. Yeah, so I mean, all of that is just like, people need to know. People need to know. So I start my channel as more as a hobby, just talking about my experience and all that stuff. And then through studying immigration programs and processes, I knew a lot, right? And then through living the experience, I knew a lot, and I developed a tiny obsession with immigration.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, right. So now I'm obsessed, and I want to talk about it all day long. And what better way is just to talk about it, film it. My husband had to pump me up to get the video out, because initially, like, I had the idea and he was like, and he gave me like who was it? Gary V, like a Gary V talk. And then we shot it, whatever. And then I couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. I did break during COVID and I had a baby and all that stuff. But like I said to you, I wanted to be the me that I wish I had when I was along the journey, because a lot of the stress that I endured, right? The emotional turmoil, right? In the pit of my stomach was avoidable, right? Some of it was avoidable. Had I had a guide of the sort, had I just known a couple of things. I remember when I had to do my police record, I went to the police station. Don't do that. That's not the way to do it. But I paid for it. I wasted that money. And at the time, like, whatever amount of money to an immigrant at $50, $70, it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I wasted that money just because I didn't know, because I was just learning on the job, you know. I'm like, how can I help people to know? So my book, this is my first book here, From Foreign Student to Canadian Citizen and Everything in Between, is my immigration journey to help to prepare the people. Yeah, this is what, this is when you need to do your language test, do this, do that, because when you get to this point, you're going to need it and you need to be prepared to have it, that kind of vibe. So that's really what led me to the point of starting a channel and then just developing my obsession. And now I've pivoted full time into this. I've left the construction world. And I know I'm an architect of people's journeys.
Stories and journeys and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that's also by Canadian Immigrants.
Like, if you think about it so far, like, what are your biggest lessons in the journey so far? Like, just doing this, what are the biggest lessons for you? Aside from, of course, don't go to the police station to do your police record.
Well, one, be prepared, and knowledge applied is power, right? So I think that it's so easy to see the end goal and just focus on the end goal instead of the little steps in between. And those steps are so important to get to that stage. And so, like, even if I were telling somebody who is coming to Canada now in 2025, like, if this was me now, Kristina, and it's, what is it, July 2025, happy Canada Day, July 2025, you need to know what your options truly are versus what you just think it is based on what you see people getting through on, right? I think that I've learned to stop, see how there's no cookie cutter. So how would I fit into this context? And then how do I get my way to point XYZ based on my context? So I learned that context matters. And I've learned just how magical networking is throughout this journey. Like, it's only like after coming back from Thunder Bay last week, now I get to sit and marinate on all the things that led up to me being able to do that, right? In my earlier days, I used to drive to the US a lot. So this long driving is not new to me, right? But I didn't know that back then. That was preparing me for that. Just because I met somebody who was mentoring me in a business that I needed that to do this today, and just how the stars align. And I think that as our community, immigrant community, underestimate, or maybe because in our countries it's not a thing, but who you know matters.
Yeah.
Who you know matters. And networking is not just for professional purposes, but even for personal, like, because I have my church community, which is all like personal. Like, I can go, we can do a puzzle together, we can hang out, or kids could hang out and play together. Like, just how important community building is. And if it's one thing that keeps me in Canada, it's kind of the community. And of course, my 5-year-old, it's, you can't just pick up and go anywhere. But the community keeps me connected and here. So build community. Definitely build community, professionally and personally. One big, super big lesson. I will shout it from the mountaintops. Yeah.
Okay. You know, I'm proud of you, to be honest. I should say
Thank
that
you.
before you
I
round up.
appreciate that.
Because I think what I really like is how so you say it, I will do well under pressure. I think you do extremely well under pressure. It's because you somehow don't let it drown you. As an immigrant, it's so easy to let, because like, I mean, and I understand that if it drowns you temporarily, I get it, because it's
Yeah.
crazy, it's just wild. And so I really appreciate that. I think that's one thing people need to learn, is just that, like, there's always a way. Legally, there's always a way legally. Because there are some people who just parrot illegal routes to solve problems, especially around among immigrants. But again, there's always a way if you just sit down and say, okay, this is what has happened. Now, what's the way around it?
Exactly.
There's always a way. You know, like
There's
just when
always
you
a
talked
way.
about the getting your passport, you know, about your mom, you know, there's just always a way.
And to that point, it's I experienced this week, having been amongst a couple temporary residents. It's when information presents itself, like, my go-to is to find out more information. My go-to is not to worry, right? Because I don't know. And that's a problem with the immigration world, is that there's all these things on TikTok and all that stuff. And we had found something out when we were there. And it's like, okay, this thing is now part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And the immediate reaction, which I understand when you're in the trenches of it, is panic. Oh my gosh, now I'm screwed. Versus, does this even apply to me? And if it does, where do I stand? And I think that a lot of people need to take that approach, because social and also filter. So when I talk about my post-immigration stress disorder, I did a talk on the topic. It's how to cope with all of the emotional turmoil is to put some boundaries around the information that you consume. You cannot be doom scrolling on TikTok with immigration topics, because you're going to find out something and you're going to say G's and P's if blah 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 blah. But just put some boundaries, a self-containment boundary. I'm only going to watch it for 1 hour, or I'm only going to watch these channels. Like, have a reputable circle that you just go to, so that you don't get thrown off the rails and panic for almost no reason. Right?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Immigration, I know, it's so crazy. Roller coaster.
Yeah, that's
The
what it
behemoth.
is.
Have you been to Canada's Wonderland before?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, the behemoth. Canada immigration, the behemoth. There's a ride there, the behemoth. It's fast and it's up and down and upside down, and the craziest ride probably is the behemoth. That's what immigration can feel like. If you come to Toronto, we have to take you to Canada's Wonderland.
Thank you so much. Like, thank you. Like, this has been a humbling conversation. Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like my own journey is, I just moved here, applied for PR, got PR, came here. I mean, got a job in 6 weeks. 4 weeks technically. Started working within 6 weeks when I was in Canada. You know, came here mid-February. Started working 1st of April. So. I'm not saying that I didn't put in some work. I did a lot of networking before I moved here. You know, I did it virtuals. I went to Miami Art School virtually from Nigeria. But still, man, like, still doesn't mean that, like, man, your story is something. But thank you.
That's crazy. No problem.
Gosh. Like, really, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's too why I am even passionate about helping the community, because I know what the instability feels like. There's job instability, that's one thing, but then there's just life instability. Where will I live? Will I live here? Will I have to go back home? Some people gave up everything at home to be here. If you have to go back, that instability, I felt it. Like, of course, I didn't have to worry about not having a place to go back to, because even right now, if I leave, I can go home. You know, I can
Yeah.
go back. Sometimes I make joke. I'm like, Daddy, you wouldn't just look after me? He's like, no, you need to work, right? But you know, like a lot of people, the instability I can resonate with, because that's how it felt for me. Very unstable, very unsure. I was young, but a lot of the people that I'm interacting with aren't that young. Not that they're too old necessarily, but they're older, and I'm gonna have a lot more on the line. And I'm very passionate about helping them to navigate, whether you get through to PR or you have to go back home. I'd like to be able to support that community, which is, I guess, the mission that I'm on right now. And it kind of ended up here because initially I was like, let me help you to not make the mistakes to come here. And they're like, oh, now a lot of people are here, some of which came through, you know, watching my videos, right? So now I have a duty almost, you know. It's like, oh, you came here on my I guess encouragement, so now how do I help you to navigate either staying here, or not everybody will be able to stay, unfortunately. So super passionate about helping those people.
That's obvious. But yeah, thanks again.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
Kristina is amazing, honestly. Check out her show. Check out her book. Please. As always, thank you so much. Thank you so much for getting to this point of the episode. If you know someone we should talk to, please send them my way. If you know someone we should interview, send them to me. Please like, share, subscribe. So, you know, we're everywhere. YouTube, Substack, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us there. Please like, please share this. Ciao.